With my hair all froey, that didn't help.
Oh, I wanted to just let you know I was on hold for, I was going to look and see exactly how long it was, but with the finance company. And it made me think of how life is on hold. 3 hours and 17 minutes. Oh my gosh, I am so grateful for my headset. Anyways, yeah, so 3 hours and 17 minutes on hold. And I just wanted to mention too how I was just got back from biking and I started thinking about it and I got really overwhelmed with thinking about how generous and patient and kind everyone is. Like, normally when you're on hold for hours and you kind of get PO'd and because you're like, what the heck? And then they get online and they're tired at the end of the day and they're short and I don't know, there just seems to be like, I'm really sorry you had to wait so long and like just people being extra compassionate, extra understanding, extra, I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining it, but it feels that way for sure. You have to go back to your living room where your Wi-Fi is better.
Yes. No, I think everyone kind of recognizes they're in the same boat,
Mm. Yeah, and it's kind of like it doesn't matter where that the person is around the world. It's like who I'm talking to, it's everyone's in the same boat, like everyone around the world. Like that is so, in some ways, it's freaking cool. It's like, before you get on the phone and, oh yeah, what's it like over in England? What's it like over there right now? And like, it's the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yep, we are unified.
And that is one of my, part of my why statement is the togetherness of humanity. It's kind of the opposite of your your stuff, but mine is whenever I see humanity coming together, I'm just like, oh yes, 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 we are one. We're in this together and we can help each other and we can do so much together, and it doesn't matter how much or how little you have right now. It's like this is affecting everybody equally. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to, I was speaking with somebody today who thinks they might have the virus and the virus have, and they're not sure, and and that must be scary in some respects, it because there's a lot of fear around that and a lot of big stuff going on around that,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So my heart goes out to those people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my brain is today, right now.
Nice. Your brain.
My brain, my heart,
Yeah.
my. How about you?
Where's my heart at? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, or what are your thoughts on the top of your head?
Um,
Or the inner workings of your heart?
well, I feel like, each day I'm staying in connection with people. And like yesterday, I reached out to all my grandparents and, those figures in my life and connected with them. And, everybody, like, this common thing is like, oh, how you doing? And I feel like it could be like a not a very open-ended question, it's like, how you doing? I'm fine, I'm okay, or whatever, this, that, the next thing. And today I was reflecting on that, how am I doing, right? And thinking about, so today I would say like I feel really good. I have had my morning meditation practice. I've gone out and moved my body in the forest. I have read some spiritual literature. And I've limited my influx of
Social media.
anything else, social media, news, even conversations with certain people who are in that right now. And so overall, like that, like it has me feeling good. Like I was walking through the forest. I had this moment where there was this big tree that had fallen and it was kind of busted and ripped like right across the trail in a variety of spots. And I just happened to be taking like the start of a full inhale right as I walked through that. And the scent was so beautiful. And I was just like, wow. And just being able to experience that, it was a little pick me up smell. But being able to experience that, like those, all those subtle things, right, in a moment, that leaves me feeling really good. And it's honestly only when I'm going out of the moment, when I'm like, just like we talked about yesterday, when if I start imagining days, weeks, months from now, that's the only time that I'm not feeling really good. And really I'm just making shit up because I don't know days, weeks, months from now. Right? So I'm kind of having that experience. So far I haven't had to or haven't chosen to, be on any lengthy waiting phone calls, or, haven't had to deal with any people in those industries or services except for the grocery store people. And I'm also having a lovely experience with that. So yeah, so I would say I'm doing pretty good. I listened to Brene Brown talk about this morning about the sort of crisis adrenaline.
Did you listen to her podcast with Glennon?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I want to listen to it.
It's probably a lot like the book you're reading. Like, because that's what they talk about is Untamed in that one. But anyway, I was listening to her. She wasn't talking to anybody in particular. She was just sharing thoughts, and and she explains that sort of crisis adrenaline, and how after this couple of weeks now everybody's gonna start feeling like the other side of that, which is like, and we all are, and we're all in that together. That's a boat of the same movement happening, as far as and then and just being really, she shares some stories about in the past with family plans, around being really mindful of how to take care of yourself in that. Noting your percentages, like how full you are today in this moment versus what's my percentage at, kind of thing, to sort of make a unified 100% with those around you, with your support system and your partner.
Oh,
and
nice.
what have you. And I was thinking, like, yeah, it just had me going like, oh yeah, they're definitely, like, it's all been amped up, so there has to be, like, the pendulum has to swing the other direction into like the sort of fatigue of it, if you will, for maybe lack of a better word, but the crash and burn after adrenaline.
Yeah, for sure.
Cycles. And and so when she talked about having a plan around that and a support, with your support network and team, and I was just like, yeah, I'm glad that I'm choosing to immerse my head and my thoughts in conversations with people who are on the same page as me. Not that we're on the same page, that we're having different experiences all the time, and we have different opinions, maybe, but we're on the same sort of trajectory.
Creating a better world. however that looks, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it makes me so grateful for the center, you know,
Mhm.
because that's a huge community of mine that is on a trajectory together.
I listened to, finished listening to Lynn Twist's webinar,
Mhm.
and I copied a piece of it and put it on our Facebook page. And then before I get back to that, I want to go back to the first thing I listened to is I happened to watch an interview of Jim Carrey a month ago. It was in February. And I like him, so I like watching his stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, there was a piece of it, and dang, it wouldn't let me I uploaded it to our Facebook page, but then I got a notice that they muted it because the content is somebody else's content.
Mhm.
So if you go there and you see it, you'll be able to find it. But the piece of it, he was saying, the guy was asking him a question, how do you navigate this life of yours that, you've got a book and you're now producing and you're an actor and you do all this, you paint and you've been all over the map. Like, how do you navigate that? And he first answered, well, drugs. And then he laughed and he goes, no, that was the old way. But he said, the present moment. He said, I practice living in the present moment, and anything other than that is, this train wreck of imagination about the future that
Mhm.
isn't even real.
Mhm.
And so, if I can edit that out of my thinking and drop into the present moment and just deal with right now.
Mhm.
And, for as goofy and crazy as he seems, when he stops and he comes to those moments, I'm like, yeah, like, and he says, I'm just working on disappearing into a ball of white light or something like that, right? Because I think from his spiritual perspective, he gets that we're all on a trajectory of getting the truth of who we are spiritually.
Mhm.
And that in Lynn Twist, so going back to Lynn Twist, a couple of things about her. She talks about this virus as a how did she word it? It's Mother Earth have going through transformation,
Mhm.
and that it's just part of, like, transformation's always moving toward something bigger and better, and not bigger and better as in I've got a bigger TV, but bigger in the way and better in the way of towards that spiritual truth.
More,
And so
more livingness and more.
more consciousness, more present moment, more belonging, more
Mhm.
love, more beauty, more,
Yeah.
pause.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool how that connected. And then at the end of her webinar, she got really excited and she said, go on the internet. And she said, look up the good news channels, because if you go there, you get
Mhm.
to watch this whole thing from a whole different perspective, right?
Mhm.
It removes the fear mongering and it's like, this is what's happening. And so I went and looked on, I wanted to see a satellite image of Wuhan. Is that how you pronounce it? China?
Wuhan. Wuhan.
And so educating myself a little bit because I want to understand. I never heard of the place, but it's like 11 million people in this one city. It's a huge city. And so if you see the satellite image in January, and it's all, yellow, and the large mass of yellow like extends way beyond the city boundaries of this cloudiness. And then you go to now, and there's like a teeny little spot left, like the whole satellite image is clear.
Mhm.
It's like, that's pretty freaking amazing,
Mhm.
right? Like, there's some major good news going on. And there was one I watched, it was silly, but there was this Italian and he had a bottle of wine and he wanted to have wine with his buddies, his friends, and they were in an apartment below them. And so they held out their glasses and he poured from 2 floors up. They were holding out their glasses of wine. And I don't know, it just, I think people, we get, I'll own it. I get so busy in my life and I get into this pattern and this routine and I don't stop to pause. And so here we are on hold and we get to stop and pause and look around. Just stop and look around. Like, you notice the tree and the smell. I can't tell you how many people have talked to me about how many birds they've noticed. Like, no time in my life in spring have people told me about birds as much as they've told me there's so many birds. It's like the birds were always there. You just didn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the birds have had a resurgence.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I think about those, the qualities of moreness, right, that you'd said, in regards to Lynn Twist talk there, it brings me back to that idea of, that the crisis adrenaline and the peaks and valleys, those are finite experiences, right? And hence we get tired and drained or whatever. When you think about those other things, the more love and the more consciousness and the more pause and all the things you listed, there's like that there's never a shortage of that. Like, it comes from inside, and so it's infinite, and so it doesn't peak and drain, and it's just like
Yeah.
bursting forth as much as you want.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, my lessons from Jim Carrey and Lynn Twist today are the practice of present moment, and just really being in that practice and doing what I love to do. And because, I have this way more free time. I think a lot of people have way more free time. It's like I got little projects lined up of things that I think, oh, I'll get to that. And instead of, oh, I'll get to that, it's like, oh, I'm getting to that. I get to do that. And that's magnificent. We had a bit of a power struggle at home because I have my gardening project, of course, at home. And so we're building a fence. And so I've dug a hole to put a post in, got the post in there. I haven't tamped it yet. And Blake and I need to do that together. And he really wanted to do it yesterday, but I was busy doing things that were in line of importance to me. And I have my whole gardening project isn't about get it done, because there's no race, there's no timeline, there's no need. And so he, in his mind, wants to get the fence done. And I'm like, why? Like, if I get the post in today, tomorrow, the next day, doesn't matter. And it reminded me of that, we had a little dialogue about it, of the days back when he was working, and he used to say time is money. And so it's that race of getting squishing as much as you can into a work day to maximize profit. Like, that's just a no thing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now, it's a no thing.
Mm-hmm. The cosmic 2x4 into something new and different, a different way of being.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
Cool.
Well, thanks for chatting with me today.
Thank you.
This is